Hello everyone, this is Zeeebo and welcome to this AFK journey video. So in today's AFK journey video, we're going to talk about why Hodgkin is the ultimate counter to Harak and also other counter options you guys can use against Harak in case your PvP side of things is infested with Harak in your district or server itself. Okay, so before I begin, just a few disclaimers. Number one, there will be some RNG factors in terms of the targeting mechanics, in terms of how Harak is eating onto different units, as well as whether or not your teams will have the answers against the opponent's team in general, because one unit can only do so much if you don't have the correct team. So there are a lot of factors to consider, but we will break down fundamentally why these units that I'm going to talk about, they are a counter to Harak. So you guys can plan your team around these units or use this unit as tech options to go against opponents Harak in general. So starting off, we're going to talk about Hodgkin. So Hodgkin is one of, if not the best answer to Harak, because he deals with Harak from different ways that makes him the best solution. Number one, he is able to negate all damage coming out from Harak, assuming Harak attacks him. So let's say if Harak uses the ultimate on Hodgkin and he's in this phantom respite form, he will be taking the full duration ultimate from Harak, because Harak right here is able to hit upwards to about 10 times, right? But if you take a look at his phantom respite duration, this is 8 seconds, and you can extend it with your skill power, which means that for this full duration of phantom respite, he will be taking all the hits and not taking any damage. So this will reduce the damage potential of Harak massively and slow down the steamroll potential of Harak. So this is why he's a really good answer as a frontliner, as a tank against Harak. Another thing which makes Hodgkin amazing against Harak is because of his third ability, which is really good against melee units surrounding him. So Harak is a melee character. Harak's ally usually are going to be melee characters in general. Units like Mikola, units like Shakir, units like Thoran, they are all melee characters that will swarm around Hodgkin right here. So this allows Hodgkin to steal a lot of energy, deal damage to the opponent, and most importantly, allow him to spam the ultimate. So this ultimate does a lot of damage and also, more importantly, reduces the physical defense of the opponent's team. So this brings me to the third reason, right? If you pair Hodgkin together with your own Harak, you will be able to reduce the defense of all the enemies with Hodgkin's ultimate to allow your Harak to steamroll faster or kill the enemy's unit faster. So this is why Hodgkin is really strong against opponent's team if you have Harak in your team as well. Another reason why Hodgkin is amazing is because of his Ardent Believer's ability. So one of the units which goes really well with Hodgkin in general is Odie, because of Odie's ability to quickly bring down the unit with his ultimate and the insta-kill ability. So right here, he's able to gain energy to continuously spam his ultimate to bring down enemies by enemies, but if he uses the ultimate against a summon and kill the summon, he will only gain 200 energy, which will also slow down Odie's steamrolling potential. So if you're able to slow down Odie as well as Harak's steamroll, you can actually build a team around the units to have bring down the opponent's Odie and Harak first before they bring you down. So this is what I did here. We're going to run through the replay. So we send Harak in. So we combine our Hodgkin with the Molotov to allow him to survive better. So right here, the Odie uses the ultimate on the illusion, right? The illusion popped, but the Odie got sniped off really quickly. And then later on, you guys will realize the opponent's Harak using the ultimate against my Hodgkin right here, and Hodgkin taking literally 0 damage. So you can see Hodgkin taking the full duration ultimate right here, and because he's in the phantom respite form, no damage taken, right? So this is why Hodgkin is amazing, because Hodgkin counters the best partners or the really good partners with Harak, and also deal with Harak by himself really well, provided you use him as a frontliner and you provide him with enough team supports in terms of the sustain as well as the defensive capabilities to protect him before he goes into the Phantom Respite form. Okay, so that's how Hodgkin's stock has risen to be one of the strongest answers against Harak. Now next, let's talk about the other units you can use against Harak as well as the precursor condition. So first of all, we have Odie right here. So Odie is an amazing unit against Harak because Harak's not immune to insta-death, right? So even if you put Harak with the Molotov to make him survive better, Odie can still insta-pop him if you stick your ultimate onto Harak. And most importantly, Odie can bring down the whole of enemy's team really quickly if their team is not built to answer him. Right, so that's why Odie is amazing with Harak, because Odie can steamroll really fast like Harak, provided you provide the space for him. So Odie is pretty frail. If you don't protect him well enough, he might be snapped off really quickly. But if you are able to protect him well enough such that he starts steamrolling, then that's where you will be able to see the result with the Odie hyper carry against Harak. So that's the second option. Now for the third option, we have Thoran, also one of the best partner with Harak, because you can link Thoran to Harak to take damage for the ally while healing himself when the allies deal damage. So Harak is a massive damage dealer, which means that he will be able to recover a lot of HP for Thoran and also take less damage because Thoran is soaking a part of it. On top of that, you provide the additional life for Harak to eat him up in case you exit the feast mode. So this gives you multiple body because of the revives itself. And last but not least, if the opponent is attacking your Thoran while he's channeling your ultimate, then there's a high chance the Harak is dead for sure, because he's going to take so much damage that one charge from this ultimate just sends the Harak flying into the heavens itself. So that's why Thoran is also an amazing answer against Harak. Now for the next unit, these are, I'll say, like the less orthodox units that people might not invest in, but really good against Harak or Harak teams in general. So Antandra was not really in the meta for a long time because of how the meta is more magical damage centric. But if you are facing Harak teams, which are most physical units, or just Harak hyper carries in general, this ability to increase her own physical defense upwards to 60% is gonna be a massive help to survive better against Harak. Not only that, this is from the Shield Assault over here, which is the ultimate, which is able to taunt enemies within 2 tiles. 2 tiles means most of the time Harak will be within the tile range, so he will be taunted to attack her, and she will be taking close to 0 damage because of the massive damage reduction from her. On top of that, she's able to sort of provide for shield for one of your allies to survive better, and also further reduce the attack of units around her, which includes Harak as well. So as a whole, Antandra is pretty good against Harak in general, and she also has the added utility to provide a guarded ally, such as Odie for example, to allow him to survive better. And this makes Antandra a good answer and a good tech unit against hyper carry Harak teams in general, provided you have her built up. So if you use Antandra against a hybrid Harak and Lily May team, for example, she might not be as good because on the magical damage side of things, she doesn't tank as well. But let's say if you are using her against a full physical team, or against a Harak hyper carry team, which I mentioned earlier, where the main damage source is the physical damage side of things, she's going to be an amazing tanker or even a semi-tanking option for the team. So the last unit is Brutus. But for Brutus' case, I would say there's a massive RNG caveat to it. So I'll explain why he's a counter and why there's this major caveat. So first of all, Brutus has the Indomitable skill, which causes him to be immune to damage for like a good 5 seconds. And then if you have the EX weapon or the S plus weapon right here, you will get this extension in unaffected and damage immunity by 1 second. So during this full duration, similar to Hodgkin, he will take no damage despite being targeted by Harak. So this is one way to counter Harak, to take no damage such that your other ally can focus on him. And then on top of that, he also has this damage immunity when he's spinning. So there is this short duration immunity. So when you combine both the immunities together, Brutus actually makes for a good unit to soak out some of the damage from Harak just naturally. But at the same time, he also has the ability to do additional damage while healing himself with the Cleaving Strike ability. So this skill over here gives him that little bit of sustain against Harak, but provided he's within the 1 tile arc in front of Harak. So that is the provided factor, the caveat factor. He can also taunt Harak to force Harak to attack him to draw attention from your ally while debuffing the physical defense, similar to Hodgkin. So you see a lot of similarity in terms of kit to Hodgkin with Brutus right here. So these are the reasons why Brutus is also a good answer against Harak in general. But Brutus is, I would say, like not as tanky because his skill is not spammable in a sense. Once this Indomitable is used, he won't be able to use it again, right? So if you proc it before Harak goes into a rampage, then chances are Brutus will still die really soon after your Harak starts to steamroll, even if he has some sort of damage immunity. And on top of that, right, Brutus ain't exactly as tanky as the likes of Antandra, so he doesn't take damage as well, and he actually procs his Indomitable way faster in a lot of different scenarios, which is why really depending on what your opponent use as well as how the Brutus is targeted, how fast he proc these will affect his tankability against Harak. So I'll say out of all these different units, Brutus is a possible answer, but he's also relatively random and best used as a secondary option. Like let's say if you build a team and you have like an answer against Harak, then you can use Brutus as a secondary debuffer, as a secondary tank for the team, or just additional damage for your physical team against Harak teams in general. So you might want to use Brutus together with Hodgkin, and then like maybe with your physical teams, or use Brutus as a secondary tank to protect your Odie a little bit better, or put Antandra as well as Brutus together so that you have 2 units that can soak up the damage from Harak and then have other units bring him down from there. So these are the 5 main units that you can use against Harak in the PvP side of things to deal with him. Hope you guys found this information useful, and hope you have fun against Harak with all these units I mentioned, and I'll see you guys again in my next video. Bye guys!